time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielson, Matt Kassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
12:03 on Edmonton Sports Talk. Thank you very much for listening or watching. If you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart or at edmontonsportstalk.com, of course, you can text us at 780-218-9999. And if you're watching over on YouTube today, hammer the thumbs up. Hit us up in the nasty chat there, too. And we can get to a few more of those. As always, Two Guys and Goalie. I can't screw this part up today. Brought to you by GS Construction, setting the industry standard for 50 years with quality, efficiency, and safety, driving their success. GS Construction has a foundation built on teamwork. Now they want you to become a part of that team. Visit gsconstruction.ca or click ready to work there, or visit their page at indeed.ca. And with the Next Step Person program at GS, it's not just a job, it is a career. Trans Sandwich from GS joins us. Say, what'd you think? Did I nail
Killed
it?
it.
Yeah, good.
Killed it. You want a job?
I mean, hey, if this doesn't work, yes.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
I guess I would. Man, we've been trying to track you down for a while now since GS hopped on board with Two Guys a Goalie. I bumped Cass today because Gage was always in studio now, but Cass will connect. And I said, listen, we don't have like all the headphones for everybody. But he said, sounds good. Tell Sandy he's a real son of a bitch. So yeah, there you go. He wanted to throw that your way. I
already pissed him off here and I haven't started talking.
Yeah, haven't even got going yet. So where were you last week?
Well, I was it was like almost like a fairy tale. Like you kind of felt like last week, I felt like I was part of the elite European 1%, like a 0.1%. So
you're in the economic forum in Davos?
Yeah,
is that
it's kind of along those lines. So a friend of mine actually, this guy named Braden Irwin, and he actually played 2 games for the Leafs, by the way.
Oh, really?
He went to Vermont, and he's an Ontario guy. So anyway, become good friends with him out in Toronto. And he got married to Lauren Howe, and she's awesome. And they decided they were going to do a big ski wedding because they're huge skiers, families skiers. Like Braden's sisters were a national ski team, all this kind of stuff. So they decided to have a wedding in Zermatt, on the side of the mountain, and it was just absolutely ridiculous. They had the party was an 80s themed ski après thing.
Come on,
it was like, I got some crazy pictures. It's awesome. So it was just like just hanging out in Europe skiing, and went into Italy on the other side, and I kind of felt like a baller.
Do you travel a ton? I know you're going back and forth like across Canada for work and stuff, but
I try and get away. Like actually, last month has been crazy. I was in the UK for a week of Christmas break there with my daughters, and then came back and then had this wedding. But now I don't have anything. So kind of hit or miss, and I try a couple times a year, try to do something fun and.
Yeah.
So he, obviously you asked, hey, we got to get Turan on the show.
I did. I said, maybe we got to get this guy an international man.
I'll reach out and see where he's at. So I go, hey, buddy, any chance you can come into the show? He goes, when is it? And I go, I don't know if I'll be able to make it. And then this jackass sends that picture of him with a onesie ski suit.
Yeah,
that's lovely. And with the headband.
Yeah.
The old school glasses with the Farrah Fawcett
t-shirt on. Yeah.
Oh, how is your skiing? How is it?
Yeah, are you a chalet guy? You'd rather just chill there,
I
or
skied
what?
hard. Like I skied every day, I would say at least 3 hours a day.
Wow.
Yeah, I was. I got a lot of credit at the end that they couldn't believe. I was the only guy that skied every single day.
Okay.
And so I did okay. Yeah, for me, it's like, especially if you're over in Europe, and I haven't skied yet this year. Like you gotta get some time.
Yeah.
But trust me, I had a lot of time for the après as well. Put a lot of hours in that as well. I had one really 5 a.m. late night. And then everything else was pretty relatively.
So not too bad then.
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, you've had longer nights in town.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, you're over there. You only live once, kind of thing, and I'm going to get the most out of it. But the skiing, the après skiing, eating, the food was amazing.
It's completely different when you ski in Europe too, because it's not only like where you ski; it's like where you're going to eat and have drinks on the mountains. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but when I skied in Italy, there was houses on the side of the mountain with people, families that had owned this place for centuries, and you would just go and hang out with these families.
Yeah, well, the biggest difference is everything here has been built in the last less than 100 years.
Yeah, it's been over
there. And there you're actually Zermatt's, that village has been there for hundreds and hundreds of years. It's been there before they skied, and so it used to be mountaineering going on there, but. So it's a total different feel. You feel like you're actually in an old.
When I was in
town.
Davos for the Spengler, one of the 5 years, our producer said, "Okay, we're going to go up the mountain." So we went up, what's the name? Something Shorn or something. So we take it all the way up to, and I've never skied. I'm not a big skier. So we go all the way up, like 2 or 3 different lifts to get up there. And at the top, there's this huge chalet, like right at the top, I'm like, oh my God, like full blown party up there. It was absolute. Food was, I had wings and fries. Everybody else was having like more Swiss based type of stuff. But we were working. We had to go back down and call 2 games a day. I was like, man, I would just want to just chill up here for the afternoon and then just take the lift back down. Like, so beautiful, man.
Even all the infrastructure, just from the gondola perspective and all that stuff, like, oh my God, like this, it's incredible. It's so next level. It's next level.
Well, you played over there. Which countries did you play? Because where did you guys play together the first time?
We never played.
You didn't play together
over there.
No, not over there, but here.
Here, with Hamilton, with the Oilers farm team.
Which year? You remember?
That would have been.
It was like 95, 96, like that year right there. Okay, I was looking.
2001.
Yeah. Again, 2001.
Yeah, but so how many places did you play in Europe?
Well, then I went over to Belfast
Yeah.
in that league there, and that's when I played against him. He was an Air,
Okay.
lighting it up over there. And then
Hart Trophy
Was
winner.
that was your season
That
with the
was
Hart?
the season,
Wow.
yeah. And Sandy's team was a wagon the whole year, and they smoked us the whole year. Didn't
They beat the Hart Trophy winner?
Well, yeah, but then we
shot from outside.
and then we
Inside joke.
We played what's it called? It was called the Challenge Cup. Like it's one of those things in season tournament kind of things. And that was our first game we beat them.
Yeah.
So we won the
In the
championship
Challenge Cup. Okay.
in Belfast.
Yeah.
That's the picture of me and Herbie in a conga line on the ferry back
Yeah.
at home. So
How did you like it over there? So you started there?
Belfast, and then the next year I went to Helsinki. I went to play in Jokerit for Jokerit, and then I went to Linz, Austria halfway through that year, and then that was.
Did you like it over there? Like from a hockey, life-wise and hockey perspective?
Yeah, life-wise, I loved it.
Yeah.
Hockey was great too. Like it's just so much more laid back. You know, it was good to wind her down a little bit. The Belfast was great for multiple different reasons. Like it was all Canadians. I played with 5 guys in the team. Like. Back in, with them. So
different import rules and those type of things.
I don't think there was.
There was, like my wife at the time her mother was born in England, and so it was like second generation. Like if you 2 generations, if you had somebody in your family that was born in the UK, you born an import.
Okay,
so basically.
It covered a lot of bases.
Yeah, so it wasn't really an import rule, and then that was good that way too because Belfast, obviously, with all the troubles of the time, Northern Ireland Catholic Protestant.
Oh,
thing,
right there then, yeah.
So we were we actually brought the city together and actually Northern Ireland together a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, we had like lots of I remember like film crews coming like from NBC, CBC came over, like did interviews with us and like
that's pretty
profiles
cool.
on our team. It was a really interesting experience that way, like culturally and yeah.
Where does hockey rank? Like I know soccer is the end all and be all over there, but what is it after that? Is it like skiing and outdoor sports kind of a thing?
Would it be in the UK?
Well, tennis,
lawn bowling,
tennis, that type of stuff. Then,
cricket.
huge.
Cricket's huge.
Okay,
Soccer,
cricket would be big there
rugby.
too.
Rugby,
rugby's huge. For team sports, they'd be ahead of.
It's just nice to hear that a hockey team kind of brought some of the communities together like that when it was tough times.
Yeah, they're pretty passionate. I actually just went back there with my daughters. I went and visited.
Oh, and you went back at Christmas
Day? I ran
into
Jason Bowen, who we played with in Hamilton. Bozy played Edmonton for a bit. He was. I played with Bozy in Tri-Cities. I played with him in Philly and Hershey. Then Hamilton, and then in Belfast.
And he's just settled in over there. That's just his life.
A girl from there. He's got 2 kids. He's actually he's a postman.
Wasn't he?
He was a chef. He was a chef. He did that for a while, and then after COVID, like kind of put a wrench into that. But no, Bozy's the same. He's just a happy-go-lucky guy, big goofy guy. Like he's awesome. So it was good to see him. And there was another Rob Stewart, another guy from Winnipeg. He married a girl from over there as well. So yeah, but the hockey's still big there. Like it's a huge following. Like. Relatively.
Well, that league's pulling a lot of guys out of like the U of A and stuff. University guys are heading over there because Marple played over in there, right? So I think he's got some connections.
They just went over there. They just went. They played a series in Belfast.
Yeah. Did they take that whole series over there?
Yeah.
That's kind of neat.
Though they said they weren't taking everybody, but they
took enough.
They took enough to play a game in Belfast. It's a gorgeous rink too. Beautiful. It's really nice. Like it's probably it was the nicest rink in that league, I would say. And Belfast is quite a nice city. Like it's
awesome. It's changed so much. Like it's actually it's come a long way in the last 20 years, 25 years. It's actually a little bit of a destination. That's why they were telling me that there's a whole new entertainment area there. Kind of remind me a lot of George Street in St. John's, like a lot of pubs with like live music playing and stuff like that. So a lot of people have their stagettes. They go to Belfast and party for the weekend or whatever. So it's kind of like a destination place, which is great.
And then where'd you say out? Austria and Finland?
In Finland, yeah.
Okay, how was Finland? How was Jokerit?
Jokerit was great. Well, that was a funny story because I was basically going to wind my career down. I was just gonna we went backpacking at the end of the year after Belfast.
You're like, that's it.
I wasn't really training hard. I wasn't, and so I get this call from my agent. He goes, yeah, like Jokerit's interested in Jokerit. Like, I'm like, Belfast is like tier 3 level, European hockey. Like, and this is like probably the best team in the whole Europe, all of Europe, right? And the league is like, just a step below the NHL, like the speed. Because back then they'd already done the clutching and grabbing, and they were like,
so they were ahead of it a bit.
Ahead of it. It was all about speed and all that kind of stuff. So here, big dum dum goes over there. I'm not even that great a shape, but it turns out the reason why they wanted me in the team was this coach's name, Rami Subbanen was his name. He played for the Oilers. He won a cup with the Oilers.
Okay, and
he's an absolute madman, like crazy beyond crazy. Okay, and the year before, Roman Volpat, you remember Roman Volpat?
Yeah.
So Roman Volpat was playing for IFK, which is the other house. So it was a huge rivalry. And I guess Roman Volpat was the tough guy of the Finnish league.
Roman Volpat was,
yeah. Now Roman Volpat's a tough guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it, but like compared to North America wise, or even like in the British league, when you had all those tough guys in that league. Like, so he was intimidating the Jokerit team, apparently, the year before.
My goodness.
And Rami did not like this. So apparently, and I find this out later, he phoned Kevin Lowe. And he goes like, I need a tough guy. I need somebody like that's gonna, battle this Roman Volpat guy. And I find this all after the fact, after I get there, right? And so I get over there. And again, this Rami Subbanen is an absolute dictator, like beyond. Thank God I didn't understand Finnish, right? Because like we would be in practice and we miss a pass, and he was kind of scared of me, so he never really yelled at me, even though I was the worst player on the team.
But he brought you in to take care of
yeah, exactly. So I'm not sure what Kevin told him, but he kind of stayed away from me. But they like a guy would miss a pass in practice, like just a normal routine of miss a pass. He would stop and he'd yell at this guy for 10 minutes in Finnish.
Oh, really?
And then the guy would go, he goes, what, he says, your mother's this and that, like the most gross things and like evil things. And I go, oh my God, what? I would two-hand that guy in the face if he said that to me. And but that's what he would do all the time. He would just do all the craziest stuff. And so that was, but anyway, it was 2-day training. I improved so much in 3 months. I actually got in shape. Like that helped a lot. But so by the time I left halfway through the year, like what happened was we play the big game, IFK game.
Oh, okay.
And again, I can't read the papers. I don't know what's going on, but apparently this thing is being lit up. Like this is like
it's like a ball.
So this is a derby game in the soccer match.
Apparently, I was fighting. We were going to fight, and I had no idea. So the game goes on, and I'm running around. I kind of I played against Roman, whatever. So we go in the corner and whatever, we hit each other and we just kind of look at each other and get, well, it's whatever. And man, it was like we'd won the Stanley Cup. Like after the fight, it was a terrible fight. Yeah, terrible. I don't think anybody won. Whatever. And Rami Subbanen was just losing his mind on the bench. He was so happy and hugging me and
he's texting, he's calling Kevin Lowe right after the game. Like, you did it, Kevin.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm not over there to fight. I hated fighting at the best of times, but. So then I go over, and then we get my sweatpants on, sweatsuit on, tracksuit. I go in under the bowels or whatever, and I go grab a coffee or something like that. There's Roman. And they're like, hey, buddy, how you doing? Not bad. This is fucking weird.
So did you ride it all the rest of the season there?
So then what happened after I fought him and stuff, like they were getting ready. They're going to win a championship. We went to this, there was a European Cup thing that we went to. We end up winning, and I wasn't playing very much. And so I said, listen, I'm over here I'm not here to whatever. So if I'm going to be sitting on the bench, you can find somebody else. I'm not going to complain. I'm a good soldier. I'm not going to whatever. But so we went to this championship and they just played the fuck out of me. I had a great tournament. And then this Linz Austria team was looking for a player and they recruited me over there. So I ended up going to Linz and then whole their story there. I ended up getting screwed around at the end of the year. So I just kind of like, when I got home in the summer, I said, I'm done.
That's
It's
it.
like, you know,
That's the end of
but
it.
it was a good little tour. It was a good time. I did move on with my life. So
I did all right.
yeah, it was good. Yeah.
Good move.
I guess GS Construction's going okay.
I think
it worked out. It worked out okay for you.
Ended up working out
Yeah,
okay.
I can't. Gage,
absolutely.
I can't. I'm trying to see and listen to Sam story. You in this scarf today.
Yeah.
I know. I don't know. It just. It just. It
'Cause I
looks,
was just in Europe. You know?
I know. It's just
close
It's
as
just
I
like
can get.
I'm sweating in here right now. You got a scarf around
Yeah,
your
it's
neck.
hot. I won't lie. Actually, yeah. So that's
You must
about
be just sweaty as hell.
What was the thought process?
Yeah.
good. With the scarf.
Yeah.
Well, I wore one. I
You got a
wore
good
one-
reaction a couple days ago.
Yeah,
The different
I wore
scarf.
one in the other day because it was minus 35 or whatever, and then I was cold when I got in here, and I left it on, and Dusty was like, "Gage, you look pretty good." So
Well, it was a nice black
yeah,
scarf.
was
Like it
black.
looked sharp. Yeah.
But it was like a sleeping bag scarf. So
Okay.
and it's got the thing you can tie it. So it looked good.
So you did it for Dusty.
So now he's trying to become scarf guy around the
Well,
office.
You brought it in yesterday.
Well, I wore a scarf yesterday to try to impress you.
And, well, then I go, well, is Dusty going to wear a scarf today? Well, I better wear a scarf.
I have the same scarf. It's just
I know,
hanging over
but
there right now.
Then
Yeah.
we said we're doing things when we're all in our gear today. So I thought I brought the hat, the shirt. Why not bring the scarf too? So
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back because it's Nielson Gager Transandwith from GS Construction with us. Second round pick. Gager's told us his draft story. Cass has already talked about his. What was it like? Were you expecting to go second round, or what was that day like? What was that process like for you back then?
Well, it actually was a terrible experience.
Was
you
it?
were rated really
I was
high.
rated first round.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, really?
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
slid?
Yeah, so I was rated half, 16th, I think is what my, what was it, the Hockey News said?
Yeah, the
News?
Hockey News draft guides. Yeah.
And I went 42nd. So it was a little bit of a disappointment. But
Well, let's move on to the next question I had for you, Sandy. Like,
I tell the story all the time. It's so funny. Because again, of course, you got draft second round. You say that's pretty good.
I saw it. I was like, hey, good
But
work.
it's all, and then it's all relative, right? It's all you get boosted up. You're supposed to be the first round, like a shitty day. But I remember this. Okay, I got to tell this story because this is an Oilers thing, right? So Donnie Meehan was my agent, and back in that day, Donnie Meehan had like
He was
the
a
whole
big
first-
time guy. Yeah.
He basically had the whole first round. So he flew us all in, and he roomed us together. So again, I'm rooming with Scott Allison. Okay.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I played again. Scott was a PA that year or whatever. And so I knew Scott as a player, didn't know him very well as a person. Anyway, day or two before the draft, get to know each other a little bit. Great guy. So he gets drafted. He was rated third round, second round or whatever. He gets drafted first round. I get drafted second round.
Oh.
So we go out that night and we was like Scott Levins, Bill Lindsay, Stu Malgunas.
Oh God.
And there's 5 or 6 of us, and we all got drafted different places or whatever, but we're all friends. So we go, okay, we're going out. Well, let's go and celebrate, right? So anyway, Scott's a great guy. But I have to tell the story because it's hilarious. So Scotty's pretty fired up, right? He just got drafted the first round. We go to the bar. He's just jacked. We're around the bar. He's whatever. We're talking to everybody and this and that. So we're talking to some girls, shockingly, and we're kind of minding our own business. And all of a sudden, the DJ comes in. The DJ, everybody, we've got a few NHL draft picks here. We're like, look back and like Scotty's in the booth. And we got the 4th round, Scott Levins, Stu got this, and we're just going, oh my God, like, can you please stop this right now? Somebody stop this guy. And then he gets all done, and then you come the last one, and first round,
Oh, no.
Scott Allison, Edmonton Oilers. And he's on the middle of the dance for us. He's grabbing our arms, putting our arms up in the air, and we're just trying to like, please go away, Scott. I know you're excited, but
Did he ever tell you the story of Slats when he went to the table?
no.
So the reason why he got drafted in the first round, he gets there and he's going around the table, meeting everyone and saying, "Oh, good, welcome aboard. Good to see you." He finally gets to Slats. He goes, and he's like all excited. He goes, "Yeah, we heard Calgary was taking you next, so we decided to take you. We didn't really even want you."
Really?
Yeah. Because Calgary was the next pick, and they heard they were going to take him.
Oh
so
my
they
God,
screwed
he
him.
failed to mention that one.
Yeah, he didn't mention that.
Yeah, you told me that later.
Oh, that's awesome.
God, that's where they really made sure Calgary didn't get anybody. Hey, like,
That was when the Battle of Alberta really did something.
yeah. And then, Sandy, so you would eventually sign with the Oil.
Yeah.
So how'd you get from there to there?
Well, geez, long and convoluted story, but basically I got drafted to Philly, and Spent 3 years in Hershey when I turned pro, like my overage year, I'm 21, 22. And then by the time Russ Farwell was a GM who drafted me, then between that whole thing, he got fired and Bobby Clark came back.
Okay.
And Bobby Clark didn't like me because Russ Farwell drafted him. Like, unless you were a top guy or whatever, all those guys. Anyway, so long, and I wasn't playing well enough or whatever.
Yeah.
Who knows? So basically, I got loaned out to Kansas City my third year of my college at 22, and my 22, 23-year-old year, and my career was over. I was going to go to the U of A, because I had no.
That was it.
They were trying to send me down the coast, and I was going to go to the coast. So then I ended up going because my buddy Rob Hartnell, and it was playing roller hockey back then. That was a huge.
I was going to ask you about the roller hockey thing.
I'm like. And he's trying to convince me. There's a great story behind that. But anyway, he tries to convince me to go, and he finally convinces me. So I go and play. I go, sure. I'm just going to go have fun, party in LA for the summer and whatever, right? So we're in like August sometime, and I'd actually separated my shoulder. I hurt myself, and I'm
playing roller hockey.
Playing roller hockey, injured myself. So I'm like, definitely, I can't wait just to go to school here. I'm done, right? Yeah. Totally done. So I got a call in August from Tom Rennie.
Okay.
He's like, we want to invite you to the Canadian national team tryouts. So that there was a full-time team back then, right? And anyway, I hummed and hawed, but I said, well, why not? Like, I go, if I make it, I make it. If I don't, it's cool.
Yeah.
So I ended up going there, and I ended up being basically the last guy to make the team. Like, it was between the other defensemen, and I was just kind of didn't give a shit. I wasn't in that good of shape. So I kind of barely make the team, and then that's really where things turned around for me, because Tom's a huge mentor of mine, and Mike Johnson, who's assistant coach. Like, those guys totally turned my game around, my mentality, my confidence, all that kind of stuff. And obviously it started with
on that team.
Oh yeah. So it started with, and it was the first kind of time other than maybe like Lauren Mulliken, who was in junior, that I had a coach that cared about you and wanted to see you do well. Like, there was more of a, throw you to the wolves kind of mentality otherwise. And so by that end of that year, I was playing really, really well. And the Oilers were down there watching Nick Stadjuhar.
Stadjuhar was on it. I just looked that team up. I saw Stadjuhar.
So
I was like,
Stadge was there. So they were watching us like closely, right? And then Lauren Mulliken was a coach of the American League team and Cape Breton. So Lauren knew me, and Tom, turned my game. I was playing really well, and they were watching me. So I think that's kind of how that all happened there. Yeah. And they signed me, and they signed Brian Muir because he was on the team too, and he had a hell of a year. And then Nick. So the three of us went to Cape Breton at the very end of that year before they moved to Hamilton. And when I stepped back on the ice in the American Hockey League game after being away for a year, like, I was a completely different player because I was in way better shape, confidence was there, whatever. I felt just faster. So that turned things around. And then the next year went to Hamilton and got named captain. Lauren basically forced me to take the captaincy. Yeah. That's another great story, by the way. Glenn Goldson was involved in that one. I think you told me that story one time. Glenn was involved in that one. And then I played that whole first year, and we had a really good year. We went to the Calder Cup final. And then the next year I basically had to beg. That's another story. I basically had to beg to get my games. I said, listen, give me a fucking break here. Yeah. One goddamn game, would you? And so they felt sorry for me. They gave you 8 games. And I was up for 2-3 months, so I made some pretty good money too.
Okay, so that's not bad.
7th defenseman for most of it, but
So how did Gully help you? What was it?
So Gully was the captain of Saskatoon when I was playing with Lauren. And anyway, so Lauren is one of the biggest characters in hockey.
Yeah, oh my gosh!
Especially back in junior when he drank, he was hilarious. He was, and he's just one of those guys you would like go through a wall for this guy because he just knew how to motivate the team. So but he's a goalie, so he's a little bit of a quirky guy, as you know.
Yep.
Those goalies are a little different. And so his approach to things was pretty funny. Like I think he liked a little bit of tension in the room always. He liked characters.
He liked to be the focus. Yeah. His one-liners on the bench. Can't repeat them now, but they were epic.
Yeah, that was awesome. So anyway, I go to again. I'm like out of the American League. I barely was going back to school.
Yeah,
I'm just lucky to get a contract. I go to training camp, and I get sent down, and he goes, we're naming you captain. We got to change some things up around here, And again, we have guys like Dennis Bonvie, and we got Greg DeVries. You got like all these vets that they've been around the team for years and years. We got to do something different here, Sandman. We got to. I go, Lauren, you're not naming me captain. And he brought, and the thing is, he brought Gully in the room. So Gully was he brought Gully into training camp, and he brought me and Gully in the room because Saskatoon.
Whatever. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know why Gully was there. But, maybe
He just happened to be
maybe
there.
Lauren knew this conversation wasn't going to go well. So I basically like Lauren. I wasn't even in the league last year. Like I can't like these guys are going to hate me. Like they don't even like.
Who the hell's this
right?
guy becoming captain of this team? Like,
yeah, 100%. So I'm like, no, I'm not captain. He goes, Sam, man, you're going to be named captain. I go, no, Lauren, no, I can't. Like, you're going to be named captain whether you like it or not. You know, and he just yelling at you, right? Like growling at you. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, fuck you, Lauren. so of course I get named captain and everybody hated me. Like, it was a pretty clear, like, who the fuck is this guy? So it took me about a few months to get everybody's,
a couple parties later.
Yeah.
Sort that thing out.
Yeah.
Sandy, as a good captain, should organized every party. Okay, where are we going? And it was like right after practice. It was 1:00. Well, we got to go. No, we're all going here. So it took, I would say, about 2.5 weeks.
I guess the coach knew best in the end. Coach knew best in the end. It worked out.
Good leader.
It worked out okay.
Off the ice.
Yeah. Hey, RCN over in the chat. He says, I wish there was still a full-time Canadian national team to play games versus like AHL teams. Spangler, he'd go play in the Spangler European exhibition games. You guys were both a part of that thing. Like, do you think that would still be it's tough now because it's such a commercial sort of driven game, but do you think that would still be something that as a nation we could pull off? How much did it help you? I mean, Sandy, you mentioned it kind of got you right back on track.
I completely, you could reiterate exactly what he said. I had Tom Rennie for a coach. He called me and I was in the dumps because no teams wanted me. And I couldn't even get an American League job.
Like no NHL team?
No,
really?
Nothing, yeah. And then I was going to go play in Augusta, Georgia.
Oh, man.
And I was just like, geez, what am I doing here? And he called me. And it was just a lifeline. He goes, hey, come and try out. I was like, geez, thank God. So
there would probably be guys who are at certain stages of their career in the American League who are like, go travel the world for a year, wear the Canadian Maple Leaf, and maybe it does spurn somebody back onto.
It was a really great refresher. Like that was probably, I would say, the closest team that I'd ever been on to, because we weren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, the American League, it's such a meat grinder. Someone gets called up and everyone's pissed because
he gets a shot. I'm better than this guy.
So it's just all like competitive and which it should be, right? But for the first time, you kind of and you're training and you're playing against teams that are much better than you, really.
Yeah.
And you have to play as a group to even be successful, and then you go to all those awesome tournaments, and then you start learning about European life, and it made the decision for me to go to Europe way easier.
Because you had a taste of it already. Yeah,
because I still remember we had we toured Ontario at the end of the year when we played against the Slovak national team.
Okay, in Ontario?
In Ontario. Okay. So we went to like 5 different junior rinks, and then afterwards we were having our year-end meetings, and the World Championships was right after. And so I went into Tom Rennie's office, and he said, I go, is there any interest from NHL teams? He goes, Gager, no. And I was like, oh. But then he said, but can you, the Scott Housen has been coming to each game, watching you play. Hamilton, their goalies, they're close to making the playoff, or one of their goalies are not sure. They want you to come and finish the end of the season. And I didn't want to go back to Hamilton because I was mad from the first time.
Yeah.
I was terrible anyway, but I said, you know what? I'll just go back. And because I said, well, what about the World Championships? And he said, I got to take 2 NHL guys. You'd be my third guy, but you'd sit and watch.
Yeah, you wouldn't play.
I'm like, okay. And we ended up winning a couple rounds in the playoffs.
And you got some action?
Well, afterwards, I had signed in Mannheim to
already signed in Mannheim
to go to the German league. And then this was a really funny conversation that I went into the year-end meetings in Hamilton, and all these guys are worried, right? Because my contract next year. I had already signed.
You're ready to go.
I'm halfway to Europe, so I'm laughing. I'm whatever, garbage bagging it. I got to go back to Calgary to Team Canada to get my stuff, and I didn't even go in. I didn't think Housen wanted to talk to me, and he goes, Scott wants to talk to you. I go, okay, whatever. I don't know. And I sit down. Hey, Scott, this is great. You know, it didn't end on great terms last time. we did all right this year. It's great. He goes, yeah, well, Edmonton's thinking of signing you. And I kind of laughed at him.
Funny joke, Scott.
Really funny, Scott. Real funny. And then I finally get home to the coast, and there's an offer. Agent told me, yeah, the Oilers want to sign you. So
No way.
I was like, how do you say no to the Oilers? You know,
Yeah.
NHL.
NHL, yeah.
You can't.
You're not. I mean,
But that
Germany
was-
can wait, Gager.
Yeah. But that's when I think I phoned Tom Rennie and told him that you're the reason why I get another shot at the NHL. That's
Yeah.
the only reason.
Oh, Tom must have done that for a lot
I
of
wrote him a
guys.
letter after.
Yeah.
I wrote him a letter after I played my first game with Edmonton.
Did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, because I never would have played any games if it wasn't for him.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's when you talk about that team. I think it's twofold. Like, number one, I think Tom is just an amazing guy. I don't think he gets enough credit for like how many, probably hundreds and hundreds of men he's either helped achieve their dreams or actually just made good men. Like created, like he was just a good person and mentored you. He cared about you as a person and he wanted you to be a good man. And so that, to me, that's a special person that was running that team at the time. But also the whole program itself, I think the value you could get out of it in Canada, like I think a lot of stuff we would test out some training stuff too. Like we would.
Oh, that's an interesting way to do it too.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You have that program and like how it would help. I think it would help the whole Hockey Canada as far as like what's the best way to train guys, what's the best way to like, you know. Again, I think the mental part of it too, because you have that time and space. To your point, like when you're pro, it's all cutthroat, it's all business, right? And then at least in the national team, it's like you're on the team, you're going to be there for the whole year.
Play like 50 games, say around 50 games type of thing. Yeah.
And so you're not getting traded, you're not whatever, and so the coaches all have a vested interest in making you better because you're competing against better teams in Europe. Like, so it just changes the whole mentality. And I think there's an opportunity there to help hockey in general.
Yeah, that would be
Hockey
interesting.
Canada in
Like some of the
general.
names that popped up here. Andy Moog, Sean Burke, Glenn Anderson, Randy Gregg, Joe Juno, all these guys had some time there, right?
Yeah.
You know, before
was-
one way or the other, before, after, during, or whatever.
I mean, that was when the Olympics were like the amateurs, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they'd go play in there. But yeah, I think there would be massive value in that. I know, like it's always enjoyable for me to watch the Spengler, but there's the Baltica or the Oldest Vest.
There's a bunch of tournaments that don't get that TV over here, right?
I mean, it's over there, so I understand it's a little bit different. But I mean, just because I was part of it, I think there's a ton of value of having a traveling Team Canada, and it's good for those kind of tweeners too, right?
Yep.
So look at like some of your draft picks,
Yeah.
top draft picks. They're in the American League, and they're
Can I throw a name your way? Raphael Lavoie.
yeah,
Right?
exactly,
Yeah.
like that.
You know, like something like that,
100%.
like that guy. Like,
And so maybe you get him. There's another top prospect and somewhere else. So you put all these big prospects together with Team Canada. I guess it depends on the team and getting called up or not. But I would have time to see all these. You know, maybe it looks like a former World Junior team that's traveling and playing in all these big tournaments. I think I'd be interested in watching
I don't think
them.
we'll ever get there, but I think there will be a positive to it. Like, it's
Yeah.
just Hockey Canada is just not there
I
anymore.
think
I
that's
guess with
moved
that.
on. Like, I mean, obviously we can talk about all the issues.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to discuss there. That's a whole nother show.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother show.
What
So
was really funny is when I finally finished playing hockey and I came home, needed a job, and I went to Shaw
yeah,
at the time.
Is that where you went straight out
Yeah,
of the?
straight
Okay.
out. I came home and I had an interview the next week, but I didn't have any references, right? So I didn't know who So Tom Rennie.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Okay.
but he was coaching
Good
the
Cranbrook
Oilers.
guy like myself.
He's coaching the Oilers.
Yeah. So
Coach of the
pretty
Oilers,
much-
giving you a reference at
Yeah.
Shaw.
So I guess it was funny because the girl that had to phone all the references, every supervisor was in the room on ask him this, ask him this.
That would be funny, actually. Well, that's a great story. I don't know if you ever told me that Tom
No,
Reddy was
yeah,
your.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Geez, that's good. Well, Gager and I met on a random installation.
Yeah.
When I first moved here, got a house, the first house that I had after I got married. This guy comes to install the cable, and I think you had been listening to the because you were looking at me like, I think I know this guy, and I'm looking at him, and I used to be a hardcore fan back then, and I'm like, I think I know this guy, and it was just anyway. He hung out for 5 hours, and
That's
cable
awesome.
worked, and I haven't been able to get rid of him
That's awesome.
after.
It took
So
that
yeah.
long to get to work.
I got him to come install my cable so I can hang out with him.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. That's right.
I'm surprised that worked.
The friendly cable guy. That's the thing. You know what? It's interesting. It says James over in the chat here, and you can text us as well, 780-218-9999. Two Guys and a Goalie brought to you by GS Construction here here. James says, guys, a Canadian version of the U.S. National Team Development Program for juniors would be the most realistic example of this, because then you could take those junior guys and play other junior teams across the league. I don't think you're going to get. Would you execute that with the elite junior players, or maybe not the most elite and guys who are like, you know what? Might not get the opportunity I want on this team because I'm a third liner, but I could go play for, different spotlight on them there. Do you think it'll never happen? Yeah. No. But what do you think of that idea?
I like it. It's almost like you'd have to have an age limit on it, right? When would it start, and when would what would be the parameters? Would it be like 19 to 23?
Yeah, like maybe guys pre-university or into the university age.
Well, I was going to say that because the whole game has changed here with NCAA changes, right?
Yeah, that changes big time.
I was going to say the reason why they didn't have it before is because we had the Canadian Hockey League. Yeah. So in that they've created that U.S. program because it wasn't a strong junior program down there. But
now they've got to
the point, it's exactly what I kind of was saying, is that group, they try out different systems, they play together all the time. So then when they get to the World Junior Championships, they know each other and more cohesive unit. So there is something to be said for that. But again, with the Canadian Hockey League and the NCAA, you're right. Maybe it's a little bit of an older group, like those bubble guys that, or just need
to take a scholarship after somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Or maybe some of the people, like, usually, not all the time, but Canadian university guys, once they're done, if they're a lot of them are looking for contracts and things like that, maybe that's the next step, something like that, where it's
or a wide range.
Who knows?
Okay, so Bones texts in and he says you got to ask him a little bit more about this roller hockey thing in LA, and it was on my list of things because I had no idea. I was looking it up. I was just like, "What did you play? Like 11? Like it was? How'd you get convinced to do it? And first, how'd you injure your shoulder playing roller hockey? And were you like?" Were you a rollerblade guy before, or did you have to pick it up,
it
or
was
what?
Weird to say. What was like a 10-year period there with like this roller hockey international?
Huge. Roller hockey was big.
And they were selling out stadioms. Like Anaheim was selling out their rink every game. And like the Forum was like we had.
Are you serious?
12,000 people.
No way.
Yeah. And the Anaheim.
I didn't know it was that big.
Sold out. Going there. It was like crazy. Yeah. And so again, so it gets back to like sort of that relative thing, right? Like I was supposed to be a first-round pick. I'm still a second-round pick. I'm like a big dog relatively. You're young and you get this ego, right? So my buddy Rob Arnell, unfortunately just passed away here a few years ago, but like he was playing the East Coast League. He played junior Lethbridge and he played East Coast League. He's a smaller player, great player. And he got all these East Coast guys needing to make more money. So this RHI was perfect. They'd go and make.
In the summer, off season,
they pay for your accommodations, and you get whatever a week, whatever $300 a week or $500 a week, whatever it was. And so he was doing it, and they needed another defenseman. So I'm in Kansas City. I'm kind of playing it out. He wants me to come play. Right? I'm going to play.
Yeah. I'm a second rounder, man. What is this?
Base myself to go down there. So he goes, well, listen, but Jeannie wants you down there. Well, Jeannie Buss owned the team.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So Jeannie Buss owned the team, and she needed a defenseman. She wanted a defenseman. So I'm like, well, it's intriguing, but no. So this goes back and forth a few times, and I'm staying in a hotel, and this is before cell phones and everything like that. So I'm getting like phone calls and messages in my room. I'm getting like letters and stuff like that. So this package comes to my door, and I open it up, and it's Jeannie had just been in Playboy.
Okay. Oh, jeez.
And I wish I'd kept this because it's hilarious. And I love her. Like we're friends, and she's she's an incredible baller woman.
Yeah.
As evidenced in her career, but she's like. She's going to get what she wants, basically. And that's successful people. They don't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
So she basically sent me a Playboy magazine, and she had a sticky note on the front. I wish they would have kept it. And she goes, turn to page whatever and meet your new owner.
No way. Come on.
I swear to God.
So you signed.
So I folded the page out and I picked the phone up. And But no, it's a true story. So anyway, we went down there and had a great time. But then I did get injured, but I just had fun. And then the funny thing is with Jeannie, we became friends, and that's a whole other funny story. Like she hated me. She hated me the whole season because I got hurt, and I was a bit of a grumpy bastard, and I was like, what am I doing?
Hurt myself.
I didn't have a good attitude, let's put it that way. So she ended up hating me. And then Troy Crowder was on the team.
Okay.
She was dating Troy Crowder.
Come on.
I swear to God.
Jeannie Buss was dating Troy Crowder.
Was playing on the team.
Okay.
Because Jeannie can do whatever the hell she wants.
Yeah.
And I don't blame her. And so, anyway, obviously Troy Crowder's Troy Crowder, and you're like a little bit intimidated by the guy. Very nice guy. But Jeannie hated me, right? So I'm like, okay. And I thought before I left, I got to go up and at least apologize.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, if you guys seen that, The Winning Time, the series,
I've watched parts of it. Yeah, a couple episodes.
The Office, like the forum and the big desk or whatever, like that shit's real. Like,
Yeah.
that's like, and that little bar after is real. I can't even imagine what happened back in the day. Like, so I go up the forum stairs and I go, can I see Mrs. Buss? So walk in this big room, huge desk. She's sitting at the back of this. Troy Crowder's sitting right next to her.
Oh, come on. Sitting right next to her?
And I'm going to apologize to her. And again, I'm 23 years old. I'm just like young punk, and I fumbled. Now I'm super intimidated. I fumbled my words. I'm really sorry, Jeannie. It's not you. I was just going through some tough times and this and that. I really apologize. Wish you the best. So anyway, she's such a generous person. Like after I had the balls to go up there and apologize to her, she just loved me after that.
Okay.
Right? So we actually became friends after that. She came to my wedding.
No way.
Yeah, and I ended up staying at her place for like this 2 summers after that. Like she's never there. They had a spare room, and I basically had this place on the beach for 2 summers without it. Like it was unbelievable, and I just trained there, right? Yeah. And you know, I was dating a girl down there, whatever. And Lauren,
who'd you date?
But she was a Laker girl. She was a Laker girl. Yeah,
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
All from the roller hockey league.
Any other famous girls?
No, we can't talk about that. Yeah, let's not get too deep in.
Yeah, it's bad enough that somebody texted me Jeannie Buss's photo from the Playboy. Yeah. I was just like, "That's her." They're like, "Yeah, that's her." I was like, "Oh, damn. She was much younger back then." Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's funny. It was a good. I was there for 2 months, and then it just opened up this whole world.
That's crazy.
I was down there training. I remember Lauren, like after the second summer I go down, I phones me up. He goes, "What are you doing down there?" I'm training. Trust me, I'm training. You better be training down there. You better.
Oh, that's great. Lord.
Oh my God, that's good. Somebody was texting. This wasn't the roller hockey that had like the curved ends on it.
No, it was actually
so it was in a rink.
Yeah. But I mean, it was to get. You were asking me about. I never played roller hockey. I never stood on a pair of roller hockey skates. So I get out there and you can only imagine. Like, and then some of these guys have been playing like, and they're ridiculous. Like they can stop, they can turn and stop. Like I'm thinking
you're using the wheel on the brake on the back.
So you're playing, like, I literally 100%. Doing the T-stop, dragging my So I was a disaster the first few games. Then you just start getting a hang of it. But then you go, like you think about it, like there's less forgiveness even on that than there is on an ice rink. Yeah. So I go up and step out and hit this guy. Like when we hit each other, like there's no give. Like there's no.
That's
like,
it.
So we're just like lock our feet in and we hit each other and the old shoulder gave out.
My God.
That's what happened. Yeah.
Gage, were you ever a rollerblade guy?
No, I never did. My buddies did because I was in Vancouver, the Vancouver Voodoo, right?
Oh, the Voodoo. They were a big thing in that. Yeah.
The Todd Esselmont, I think Ryan played or Shay did, and then Sasha Lakovic was on that team. And my guy I grew up playing, Doug Ast. I mean, they called him, like he was so good, they called him the Paperboy because he delivered.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, not bad. It's not as good as the mailman, but the Paperboy. The Paperboy's a lesser level of that. It's
that was the thing.
No, that's okay.
I went to those games all the time. Actually, they were a lot of fun.
Oh, they're good hockey. Yeah.
I remember the last time in my life I was on rollerblades. Actually, it was my second year of university. And I was just like, second year university, I've been drinking a lot for like the last 7 months, and I was going to go home for the summer. I was like, I got to start getting in shape a little bit. So I got a pair of bloody rollerblades, but no brake on them. Like No, so I was rolling along Lethbridge on one of the like side sort of like walkway paths, flying along. And I was coming up to like a road and there's a bunch of cars flying and I was just like, shit, I don't know how to stop right now. So I'm flying along, not that I was going super fast, but I'm flying along and I ended up just running onto the grass,
Right. Oh,
smashing into a huge fence, go down, rip up my sweats. I'm bleeding on my elbow and my cheek. I come walking back to my roommate. I come in. He goes, "How was rollerblading?"
Yeah.
I was like, "How do you think rollerblading was?" I have not gone on rollerblades in 21 years since that moment. That was the last time with rollerblades.
Terrifying.
Yeah, I was just like, this is ridiculous. All right, Sam. So you keep busy, obviously, now with GS Construction.
Yes.
We're talking about you guys hiring all the time. I mean, is it that you guys are always looking for people or what?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to find good people, especially, unfortunately, in the construction industry.
Yeah.
You know, that,
Is there a lot of turnover?
you know, we're pretty good overall, but there is that turnover all the time, and it's a little bit transient. Like some guys they'll be on the, like, so if the oil and gas industry is big, they'll go from our civil construction side to the oil and gas, that kind of stuff. So there is that transition, but we're pretty good at retention overall, but we're also growing. Got, you know, a lot of work for next year. Like it just seems like it's one of those things where you have a client, you take care of them, and they want to do more work with you next year, and it's sort of like seems to get involved in that.
But you got like other jobs coming up too, so you're always new guys.
So sort of come, and I think next year, I mean, let's Trump outside. We don't know what's happening.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
But I think overall, like Alberta's in a really strong position, and Edmonton, like I think a lot of stuff's been happening in Calgary the last few years as far as residential development and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I think this year you're going to see a really busy uptick.
What's your bread and butter? Like we see your stuff everywhere, but what's your go-to? Like,
yeah, so we're pretty diversified, but a lot of what we do, or most of what we do, is a lot of rehab work. So we work a lot with EPCOR water, and EPCOR drainage. We replace old water mains, old drainage pipes, all that kind of stuff. You know, EPCOR is mandated to maintain a certain level of service and stuff like that to the city of Edmonton. So we help them with that.
Yeah, like maintenance contracts or
stuff. Yeah, so we have long-term stuff with that. And then other communities, like we'll go out to communities outside Spruce Grove, Fort Saskatchewan, whatever. We're up in Lac La Biche this year, Edson, and we're doing rehab for them, like replacing old infrastructure for them.
Yeah, so you're always looking for guys, and simple as that.
Always looking for guys. There's always lots of that work there to do. And then we have our private development stuff, so developers building lots for housing and multifamily sites and stuff like that. So we have that private side as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that side's been growing quite a bit. So that's really kind of where we need to find people to do that stuff.
All right, so that keeps you super busy for sure.
Busy.
How much time do you have to be like a hockey fan nowadays? Like, do you watch the Oilers like a lot or much often? Or
I watch. It's been terrible. I think I've had a bit of a hangover because I went to game 4, 5, 6, and 7 last year. So taking clients, and we had a hell of a time.
So you just did the whole.
We had a blast. That was a really good fun experience, and I think that when the season started so fast, like I was actually texting Gully, like I can't imagine these guys like October whatever, like
have to go again.
82 games, go through, like, I mean, no wonder they started out slow. Like I can't even imagine, like, the poor guys. But anyway, they're obviously they're playing really well right now.
Yeah, they're playing good.
Yeah, but so yeah, I am a fan, but I haven't watched a whole bunch. I watched last night's game, and I've been watching again. I'm sorry, boys, I've been in Europe. You know,
Are you saying you're not watching every single game?
Difference, you know. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Oh, God. I showed him that picture, and he was like, "Oh."
Yeah, we're sitting there, and he texted me because we were talking about you on the show, and he's like, "Look at this." I was like, "Nah."
What a jerk. I honestly hesitate because I'm obviously very fortunate I'm able to do that stuff. And I'm like, I don't even want to send it to him because he's going to think I'm rubbing it in or something like that. I'm just excited. I just want to show my friend.
No, I remember, what was it? It was last year. I think he went to, I don't know where, Kitzbühel. Or were you in Kitzbühel?
Yeah, that's 2 years ago in Austria.
Yeah. So I was going, "Hey, Sandy, are you in town or whatever? Are you gonna be?" No, I'm in Europe. "Oh, where?" "Kitzbühel." And I'm like, "Kitzbühel, kind of weird." And then I go home. And I came home late, and I turned on the TV, and it was CBC, and it was the downhill, the World Cup ski race. And it was like, and I just look, I go, "No." And I go, "Are you at the," and he sends back, he's in the race. Just at the World Cup race. I was just like, "No, you prick."
Not bad.
Yeah, so I didn't want to rub it in. I wanted to let you know.
Well, you didn't rub it in at first. It was funny, but then it was weird because I for some reason I turned on the TV and there was the World Cup race. I go, "Sandman."
Yeah.
Sandman.
Yeah. Well, the one thing, we've always talked about this. Sorry, we have to do a ski trip together. We got to go skiing together. But the other thing that we got, another bucket list thing, and I know I'd love to go with you, is to do an F1 race.
Man.
Like, that would be unbelievable. I would never want to go to one without you.
Oh my goodness! Look at this.
Because then I would have to hear about it.
Yeah,
You would never be invited back again.
I'd be with Lewis and Charles. Hey, Gage!
You're sitting at home at 1:30 in the morning watching the race and firing a text.
Wait a second, that's Sandy.
That would be the final straw for this guy. Like with how much you've become a fan of
I
F1.
think I'd lose a
That'd be
friend
good.
there for sure.
Sounds like there's a Monaco trip for you guys in the
guess
future.
so.
Hey, why not?
Yeah.
I mean,
Back
that
in
would
the
be
GS
okay.
boat.
Let's do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, we got
There
a
you go. Yeah, but GS Construction has a yacht. Why wouldn't you have a yacht in Edmonton? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. That's funny. Hey, do you think, like, if the Oilers get back to the Stanley Cup final, do you think there's any way McDavid and Draisaitl don't get that done this time? Like,
I don't. They get back in that final. There's just no way.
No.
Yeah,
That's
there's
why I
no
said
way.
I think they roll over. If they make it back to the final, I don't think anybody from the East will get in the way of those two guys.
No, there's so much, and they. I believe they have a little more depth than they had before, and then all the rest of the team has another year under their belt. They've been to the Stanley Cup final as well. That's a huge. I mean, you can't even put a price on that, right? So
got to get there, but I think they can.
yeah, they're just. I mean, you got two players there that are like they're like those generational players like Crosby and Lemieux and Gretzky. Like they're gonna get it done because that's what they do. That's how they're built. So I think getting back there and having two of them, I can't see. And people be motivated that want them to win, right?
Yeah, I don't see McDavid starting his Stanley Cup final career as a two-time loser. Like I don't see a world where that dude allows that to happen.
Yeah,
It's just
100%.
impossible to me.
Sandy, we have a thing called the Estes here. It's an awards show that we have at the Garneau.
Yeah.
I think that you might be nominated for best guest.
Yeah, you might be in the mix for guest of the year. You have to put on a nice suit.
Well, I'll let you know
And,
when it is.
That's what your sponsorship gets you. Eh?
Yeah. Actually, technically, your sponsorship should at least get you an invite.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
It's almost wrapped up. Okay, I was signed for a 3-year contract.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Done.
Okay, done.
Perfect. All right, that's going to do it for Two Guys and a Goalie today. Brought to you by GS Construction. Sandy, thanks a lot for coming in, man. That was a
Pleasure.
lot of fun. Feel free to come back anytime, man. Now you know where we are. So that's
Great spot.
That's good.
I'm
It's
just gonna
a
come
fun
here and
place
hang
here,
out.
man.
This is what
It's a
I-
fun place here. Yeah. EST Afternoons is coming up at 1 o'clock here in about 5 minutes. If you're on YouTube, turn on autoplay. It'll take you right on over. Gage, do you know what's coming up between 1 and 3?
I have no idea.
No idea. He will be on the show.
No, I forget. Forget it. That was yesterday.
I don't know where Hernan is.
Yeah.
Zach, what's coming up?
I got it all right here. Okay, so we'll talk some NBA with, of course, trade deadline today with Sean Woodley from Locked On Raptors,
Woodley.
and then Brett Boyko, Edmonton Elks offensive lineman, joining the show as well. So
Big boy.
jam-packed show, of course, Oilers Blackhawks recap and Red Light District.
All right, that was great stuff. Thanks for coming in, buddy. It was fun catching up.
Thanks, man.
My pleasure.
All right, that's
Good
going to
see
do
ya.
it. Two Guys and a Goalie. Up next, ESC Afternoons with Gager and Hernan Salas. I'll talk to you tomorrow morning on the Nielsen Show at 6 o'clock. Take it easy.
So excited.